Yeah. Okay, Tom Cruise, my friend, will tie himself to a side of an airplane and it will take off and land. I put applesauce on my neck so a pit bull could give me love and affection. I don't know who's braver.
Yeah, that's...
Did you know Brad Pitt had a rival he truly hated more than anyone else in Hollywood? Brad Pitt's journey to stardom was filled with iconic roles and undeniable talent. But one of his biggest challenges was his intense rivalry with Tom Cruise. Their feud went beyond mere competition. It was personal and fierce. On the set of Interview with the Vampire, their clashing personalities sparked a legendary Hollywood conflict. Cruise, with his relentless drive and perfectionism, and Pitt, with his laid-back style, were bound to collide. This rivalry not only shaped their careers, but also left a lasting mark on Hollywood. Early clashes. Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise first crossed paths on the set of Interview with the Vampire, a film that would become infamous for the tension between its two leading men. Brad Pitt, already struggling with the grim filming conditions, found himself at odds with Cruise from the start. The movie was shot in London during the dead of winter, with long, dark days spent inside the unwelcoming Pinewood studios. Pitt described the environment as bleak and depressing, with no windows and outdated facilities. Every day felt like a battle against the cold and gloom, and this atmosphere took a toll on him. Tom Cruise, on the other hand, seemed unfazed by the conditions. His intense, energetic demeanor contrasted sharply with Pitt's laid-back and introspective nature. Cruise's approach to work was methodical and disciplined, often described as almost military-like. This was a stark contrast to Pitt's more relaxed and spontaneous style. Their personalities quickly clashed on set. Reports surfaced of Cruise giving unsolicited advice to Pitt, adding to the tension. Pitt felt overshadowed by Cruise's dominating presence and constant drive for excellence. The tension between them was palpable, and it affected their performances. Pitt later admitted that he found the experience so unpleasant that he considered quitting the film altogether. However, the hefty $40 million penalty for breaking his contract forced him to stay. He decided to endure the hardship, even as it strained his mental and emotional well-being. Their rivalry wasn't just about their working styles. It extended to their ambitions and goals in Hollywood. Both actors were at pivotal points in their careers, eager to establish themselves as leading men. This underlying competition only fueled the tension, as each wanted to outshine the other. Interview with the Vampire was a commercial success. However, for Pitt and Cruise, the experience had a lasting impact. Their relationship stayed strained, and they never worked together again, even though they almost reunited for another project years later. And that was just the beginning of their rocky relationship. The competition heats. Up as the 90s progressed, the competition between Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise intensified. Both actors were determined to dominate Hollywood, and their rivalry was evident in their film choices and public comments. A significant moment in their rivalry came with the release of Inglourious Basterds and Valkyrie. Both films, set against the backdrop of World War II, showcased their star power and acting abilities. Inglourious Basterds, directed by Quentin Tarantino, featured Pitt as a charismatic and ruthless Nazi hunter. The film was a critical and commercial success, grossing over $321 million worldwide. In contrast, Valkyrie, directed by Bryan Singer and starring Tom Cruise, told the story of a German officer involved in a plot to assassinate Adolf Hitler. While the film was also successful, earning $201 million, it didn't achieve the same level of acclaim as Inglourious Basterds. Pitt didn't hold back when discussing Valkyrie. In interviews, he called the film ridiculous and criticized its portrayal of historical events. Pitt's remarks were a direct jab at Cruise, adding fuel to their fiery rivalry. He emphasized that Inglorious Bastards offered a more compelling narrative, dismissing Valkyrie as lacking substance. The media eagerly picked up on these comments, further stoking the flames of competition between the two stars. Fans and critics compared their performances and the success of their films, with many viewing it as a head-to-head battle for Hollywood supremacy. Although the public jabs and competitive nature were evident, both Pitt and Cruise continued to thrive in their careers. They remained two of the most sought-after actors in the industry, each carving out their unique paths to success. The rivalry left a lasting impression on both of them, shaping their choices and fueling their determination to outdo one another. Their rivalry didn't end there. Almost reunited. One of the most intriguing what-if moments in Hollywood history was the near reunion of Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise for the film Ford vs. Ferrari. The project, directed by Joseph Kosinski, was initially set to star the two megastars. This potential collaboration generated a lot of buzz and excitement. Ford vs. Ferrari was intended to chronicle the rivalry between Ford and Ferrari during the 1960s, focusing on the efforts of Ford to build a car that could defeat Ferrari at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Pitt and Cruise were considered for the leading roles, which would have brought them back together on screen after decades apart. The project, however, ultimately fell through. Budget constraints and scheduling conflicts were the main reasons the film didn't proceed with Pitt and Cruise. Although they were willing to work together, the financial demands of the film were too high, and the studio couldn't justify the enormous budget required to secure both actors and produce the film. The implications of their potential reunion were significant. Seeing Pitt and Cruise together again would have been a monumental event in Hollywood. Their combined star power and the history of their rivalry would have added an extra layer of intrigue to the film. Fans were eager to see how their dynamic would play out after so many years, especially given their intense past on Interview with the Vampire. If the project had gone ahead, it could have marked a turning point in their relationship. Working together on a high-profile film might have provided an opportunity for them to reconcile their differences and perhaps even develop mutual respect. It also would have been fascinating to see how their acting styles and personalities had evolved over the years and how they would interact on set. The missed opportunity left fans wondering what could have been. Ford vs. Ferrari eventually moved forward with Christian Bale and Matt Damon in the leading roles, and the film was a critical and commercial success. However, the idea of Pitt and Cruise sharing the screen again remains a tantalizing thought for many. Imagine if they had worked together again. Public comments and jabs. The rivalry between Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise often spilled into the public domain, with both actors making candid comments about each other in interviews. These public jabs only intensified the tension and kept fans and the media hooked on their ongoing feud. One of the most notable instances occurred when Brad Pitt openly criticized Tom Cruise's movie Valkyrie. Pitt didn't mince words, calling the film ridiculous and dismissing its portrayal of historical events. This public dig was a clear jab at Cruise and highlighted the ongoing competition between them. Pitt's remarks were widely reported and discussed, adding fuel to their rivalry. Tom Cruise, known for his controlled and composed public persona, rarely responded directly to Pitt's comments. However, he did make subtle digs in interviews, emphasizing his dedication and methodical approach to acting. These comments were seen as indirect criticisms of Pitt's more relaxed and spontaneous style. The media played a significant role in amplifying their rivalry. Headlines often pitted the two against each other, comparing their films, performances, and public statements. Interviews were scrutinized for any hint of animosity, and every comment was dissected and discussed. This constant media attention kept the feud alive and made it a staple of Hollywood gossip. One particular interview with Pitt highlighted the ongoing tension. When asked about working with Cruise again, Pitt remarked that their personalities were just too different. He described Cruise as the North Pole to his South Pole, emphasizing the vast differences in their approaches to life and work. This comment was widely circulated and discussed, further cementing the narrative of their rivalry. Cruise, on the other hand, focused on his successes and achievements, often highlighting his disciplined work ethic and commitment to his roles. While he rarely mentioned Pitt directly, the undertones of his statements were clear to those following their feud. The public jabs and media coverage fueled their rivalry and affected their careers. Both actors were constantly measured against each other, with their successes and failures often compared. This scrutiny added pressure and kept their competitive spirits high, and the rivalry continued to affect their careers. Impact on careers. Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise made career choices that often seemed influenced by their competitive spirit. Each actor was driven to showcase their unique talents and carve out a distinct place in Hollywood. For Brad Pitt, this competition led to a pursuit of diverse roles. He took on complex characters in films like Fight Club and Seven, aiming to demonstrate his versatility. These roles allowed him to explore different aspects of his acting abilities, setting him apart from Cruise's more action-oriented roles. Tom Cruise, renowned for his intense dedication, continued to secure physically demanding parts in movies like Mission Impossible and Jerry Maguire. His commitment to performing his stunts and bringing high energy to his performances solidified his reputation as a top action star. Public perception of their rivalry varied. Fans of each actor were often divided, debating who had the superior talent. Pitt's relaxed, everyman image appealed to many, while Cruise's disciplined, high-energy approach attracted others. This division kept their rivalry in the public eye, with each new film release sparking renewed interest and comparison. Their competition influenced the types of projects they pursued. Pitt frequently chose films with strong ensemble casts, like Ocean's 11, allowing him to stand out among other big names. Cruise preferred leading roles, maintaining his image as a dominant Hollywood figure. Public appearances and interviews were also battlegrounds for their rivalry. The media closely watched and analyzed each actor's actions and statements, often framing their choices as direct responses to one another. This scrutiny added pressure, but also ensured they remained prominent in Hollywood news. Fan reactions played a crucial role in shaping their public image. Pitt was often seen as the more relatable and down-to-earth star, while Cruise's intense persona sometimes appeared too polished and distant. These perceptions influenced their career paths, with Pitt being cast in more relatable roles and Cruise continuing to excel in the action genre. This competition impacted their professional lives, influencing their role choices and public perception. Both actors thrived under pressure, continually pushing to outdo one another and maintain their statuses as Hollywood icons. But what about their personal lives? Personal lives and rivalry. Their intense rivalry didn't just stay on the big screen, it seeped into their personal lives as well. The competition between Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise had a noticeable impact on their relationships and personal choices. Brad Pitt's relationship with Jennifer Aniston was often under the media microscope, partly because of his high-profile feud with Cruise. The constant comparisons and public scrutiny added strain to their marriage. Pitt's pursuit of diverse roles and his desire to distinguish himself from Cruise sometimes meant long periods away from home, which affected his personal life. Tom Cruise, on the other hand, was known for his high-energy lifestyle and dedication to his career. His relationships, including his marriage to Nicole Kidman, were similarly affected by his relentless drive and the public's fascination with his rivalry with Pitt. The media often speculated about how the competition influenced their personal lives, adding pressure to already high-stakes relationships. The rivalry also extended to their social circles. Friends and colleagues often found themselves caught in the middle, sometimes having to choose sides. This dynamic created a tense atmosphere at Hollywood events where both actors were present. The feud was a constant undercurrent, influencing interactions and alliances within the industry. Their public personas and personal choices were often contrasted by the media. Pitt was seen as the more laid-back and approachable star, while Cruise was viewed as intense and driven. These perceptions influenced their personal lives, with Pitt often seeking roles that allowed him to stay grounded and connected to his values, while Cruise continued to take on high-energy, demanding projects. Both actors managed to maintain their status as Hollywood icons. The legacy of the rivalry. The fierce competition between Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise left a lasting impact on Hollywood, influencing not just their careers, but the industry as a whole. Their rivalry set a high bar for other actors, pushing them to elevate their performances and choices. One significant effect was how it shaped the careers of their peers. Actors who came up during the height of their feud often found themselves compared to Pitt and Cruise. This comparison pushed many to refine their craft, seek challenging roles, and carve out unique identities to avoid being overshadowed by the two giants. The rivalry also highlighted the importance of versatility and adaptability in Hollywood. Pitt's willingness to take on diverse roles and Cruise's dedication to high-energy performances showed that success in the industry often requires stepping out of one's comfort zone. This lesson was not lost on other actors, who began to explore different genres and styles to stay relevant and competitive. Their public feud also underscored the role of media in shaping public perception. The intense scrutiny and coverage of their rivalry demonstrated how powerful the media can be in building or damaging reputations. Actors learned the importance of managing their public image and being mindful of how their actions and statements could be interpreted. Moreover, the Pitt-Cruise rivalry illustrated the benefits and drawbacks of competition. While the competition drove both actors to excel and achieve significant success, it also brought considerable stress and pressure. The lessons learned from their rivalry include the importance of balancing ambition with personal well-being and the value of healthy competition over destructive rivalry. The lasting impact of their feud is evident in how Hollywood approaches star power and collaborations today. The industry now often looks for chemistry and compatibility when pairing actors, understanding that off-screen dynamics can greatly influence on-screen performances. This approach helps in creating more cohesive and compelling films. In reflecting on the legacy of their rivalry, it becomes clear that both Pitt and Cruise emerged stronger, each carving out a distinct legacy in Hollywood. Their competition, while intense, ultimately contributed to their enduring status as iconic figures in the film industry. Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise's rivalry is one of Hollywood's most intense and fascinating feuds. Their competition shaped their careers and left a lasting impact on the industry. If you enjoyed this look into their rivalry, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more Hollywood stories. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.